Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad and my group partner is Sayyid Muhammad Taha. And today's presentation on Proxy Pattern, I'll be walking you through the concept, implementation, and application of proxy design patterns. So let's get started. We have a slide of introduction to proxy pattern. The definition is a proxy pattern is a design pattern that provides an object representing another object. Its purpose basically is to control access to an object, manage complexity, and handle operation efficiently. Basically, a proxy pattern is a design pattern in software development that provide an object which represents another object. The primary purpose of using a proxy pattern is to control access to the original object, reduce complexity, and manage operation efficiently. This pattern is particularly useful when dealing with objects that are resource intensive to create or require control access. Moving on to the next slide, we have here how proxy pattern works. So basically, now let's discuss how proxy pattern works. It involves three main components: the subject, the real subject, and the proxy. The subject defines a common interface for both the real subject and the proxy. The real subject is actually object that the proxy represents, while proxy controls access to this real subject and can perform additional actions. Here's how the interaction flow works. First, the client interacts with the proxy. The proxy then delegates the request to the real subject. Additionally, the proxy may perform other operations before or after forwarding the request, such as logging, caching, or access control. Moving to the next slide, that is types of proxy patterns. Yes, there are several types of proxy patterns, each serving a unique purpose. The different types are virtual proxy, remote proxy, protection proxy, cache proxy, smart proxy. You'll be wondering what are these proxy used for, so I'll break down it for you. Manages the virtual proxy basically manages memory by creating and loading an object only when it is needed. Meanwhile, the remote proxy provides a local representation for an object located in a different address space. The protection proxy. It controls access to control original object based on permission. The cache proxy do reduces the cost of resources intensive operations by caching result. Meanwhile, the smart proxy it does the work of adds additional behavior like reference counting or logging. Let me make it more clear for you that virtual proxy is a type manages memory by creating and loading an object only when it is needed, which is useful for resource heavy objects. Meanwhile, a remote proxy. Yes, a remote proxy. This proxy provides a local representation of an object that resides in a different address space, typically used in networked application. On number third, we had protection proxy. Yes, I am breaking it down more for you. That is, it controls access to the original object based on user permissions, ensuring security. On number fourth, we had cache proxy. This reduces the cost of resource intensive operation by caching a result, which is beneficial for frequent requested data. On the last type, we had smart proxy. It adds additional behavior such as reference counting on or logging, enhancing the functionality of the original object. Moving to our fifth slide, that is benefits of proxy pattern. In this slide,
Greetings everyone, I am Taha, a second year student of Bachelor's of Science, and today we are discussing about proxy patterns. Along with me, my colleague Moebullah has already discussed about how it works, its benefits, and some of the types. So I will be discussing about its application, some of the Java code, and some of the use cases, and at the end I will be concluding it. So let's begin. Uh, Here are the real world application of the proxy patterns. There are many applications, but we, are, we have discussed few here. So one of them is web browser. Web browsers. Proxies are used to access the web resources. These proxies can cache the web pages, filter content, and provide anonymity. The second is security protection. Pro- Protection proxies for authentication and authorization. So, for example, firewall proxy, and also synchronization that access an object in a multi-threaded environment to ensure thread safely. Also, last but not least, remote services facilitating communication with remote objects located on different servers or network nodes. So let's move to the sum of the code. The provided code is an example of a proxy pattern, specifically a virtual proxy. It delays the creation and loading of a real object, or in this case, real image, until it is needed. In this case, when the display method is called, it defines a common interface with the display method, implements the image interface, loads the image from the disk in the constructor, and display the image in the display method. It implements the image interface contains a reference to a real image object. The display method checks if the real image is null. If it is, it creates a real image, a new real image object, and then calls it display method. And this is the code. So let's move to some of the use cases of proxy patterns. There are also many use cases of proxy pattern, but here we have discussed three of them. The most famous, that is remote proxy, protection proxy, and cache proxy. Remote proxy accessing remote objects that helps to access remote objects over a network, and the protection proxy uses to manage user access rights to an object. Example: access control and document editors. And cache proxy are results of frequent database queries to improve performance. So these were the use cases of the proxy patterns, and in the end the conclusion of proxy patterns is that it provides efficient control and management of object access. They offer benefits such as lazy initialization, enhanced efficiency, and added functionalities. Lazy installation also called virtual proxy. It is widely applicable in web services security and performance optimization. It also implements proxies, improve system design and resource utilization. So these are my team members. I hope you like the video, and I hope that you understand about the proxy pattern, its types, its benefits.